Hello, everybody. All right, moving right along. I want to also apologize. It's kind of late, and I'm kind of messy, and I'm basically in my PJs. And it's because they were doing a lot of work on the roof. It's the third day of roofing. It's really loud here during the day. I had to leave, and I wrote down my notes, and I was like, can't wait to get home. And the contractors basically stop working at night. They're here from morning to night, and it was just impossible to recite anything into this. So let's move on to the Uchkin paradox, okay? And if we start with the assumption that the UAP UFO phenomena is real, and we confirm the capabilities that we infer are actually there, well, it's a bit of a complex statement, but let me walk you through it. If they are here and they can do the things we see, they could have easily destroyed everything, taken over, or exerted irresistible influence. They haven't. They haven't, and my theory is they don't think and act like humans because they are truly alien. I want to say this: any human agency, any nation, any religious group, any corporate group, anything led, staffed, operated by humans would have used this power to do what humans do. I devoted a whole chapter to what they could do, and I briefly mentioned this, but again, I want to delve into it. It is inconceivable to me that any nation that could easily penetrate the airspace of the United States, run circles around our best pilots and our best gear, backed up by the best radar, backed up by the best satellites, that they could easily go into the water and outmaneuver our submarines, penetrate our nuclear facilities, and potentially abduct so many people and do so many things that if these were humans, they would have done human things with it. They would have taken over. They could have violently taken over. They could have made a show of force. They could have been a little more subtle and used their tremendous industrial and technological capabilities to overtly change things. And to be honest with you, I don't think that's happening. Even the subtle thing, because if you look at humanity, right? We're still very human, and we kind of do the same things. We're still operating on a internal combustion engine. Hell, we still have operating steamships for novelty. There's people that still, you know, farm, organic farmers, right? Average farmer drives the vehicle around. Yeah, we've computerized some things, we've sped some things up, but we're still basically what we were. All right, and I don't see a heavy-handed and obvious alien approach anywhere. There could be some subtleties. I'm not denying that, but they haven't done it in a way human beings would. The minute human beings gain advantage and power, they begin using it for something. Just different personality types. Think of if everyone you knew. Think of 10 people that you know and try to think of people that are different. Some men, some women, some younger, some older, some black, some white, Latino, whatever. And just ask yourself, what would this person do with $1 billion? What would their life be like? You know damn well some people would get $1 billion and immediately began, looking for control over things, looking for some type of power and acclaim and things like that. There are other people that would take that billion and, you know, even though their life might not change much, their impulses would now have all kinds of license. Like a person who's kind of a loner, but, you know, likes to go out once in a while and see a concert. If they don't have a lot of money, they're not going to see a lot of concerts. If you have $1 billion, $2 billion, even if you don't move out of your house, you're going to go out and see more concerts. Someone who's into alcohol and drugs is going to get a ton more drugs and may have an overdose, right? Another person who likes objects and toys, material things, is going to accumulate material things. All of this translates into, if you're doing these things and you have this money, you've got to put it that somewhere. You've got to safeguard it. You know, your life would change even if you tried not to have it change. And if you did not take care of simple security precautions, let's say you kept it in a mattress under your house, um, sooner or later someone's going to break in if you don't have some kind of security, some kind of secrecy, right? So human beings tend to behave in rather predictable manners as a group, as an aggregate, when it comes to resources, power, military capability, travel capability, and power. Like simple things like, you know, if you never had to pay for an electricity, heating, or cooling bill again, even that would make a difference in your life, right? Whatever this is, whatever these things are, whether they're AI, extra dimensional, extraterrestrial, they're not doing what humans do. So if it's a crypto civilization, it seems less likely to me that they are human, right? If they descended from humans, they've diverged to the point where their psychology, their mentality, their behavior as a group is different than ours. So maybe we can take a little comfort in that. Okay? That doesn't mean that we're in the clear. We must understand that we need to advance disclosure so a plan of action can be undertaken. This is a problem beyond the capability of a small group of essentially white men and their rich families. Okay, they are not representative of the sum total of the United States, and certainly not representative of the world and the human species. I am a firm believer in diversity for selfish reasons. It's like a toolbox. If you have a toolbox filled with only wrenches, only screws, or just a wrench and a screw and then another wrench and, like, you know, if you don't have a toolbox with a complete set of tools and accessories and nails and things like that, you can't get much done. Same thing for culture, same thing even for religion and mentality and personality. You need different people on a problem. You need teams of people with some redundancy, but not a whole lot, to get things done. Now, could there be a plan already in effect? If there is a cover up for knowledge, there is a cover up for action. Because again, human beings are actually more predictable in large groups as an aggregate than as individuals. So our government tends to act on information. That's the whole reason why we have intelligence gathering and intelligence services and analysts. We're not always looking for knowledge's sake, but we're looking for knowledge to guide action. Things like, where do you spend your money in self-defense, in defense of the nation? How do you budget money? What projects should you build? What steps do you take to protect the economy from collapsing? I mean, again, a little bit of a sidetrack here, but we call ourselves capitalists, but capitalism is not a form of government. Capitalism is basically a way of running the economy that's sort of optimized for profit making, usually for large corporations and already wealthy people. It's not a form of government. You don't vote for capitalists or anything like that, right? So, our government, and the reason why I'm talking about this is our government does things. Capitalism, which is how we like to run our economy, produces a kind of a recession or depression every 5 years, a fairly big one, and then every 10 years, it darn near goes into a collapse. Okay, and the government has to intervene, and oftentimes one party that was in power that sort of set it up to create the surge and then the collapse, another party is voted in to kind of fix up, and then you go through cycles, right? So our government acts on information. If they have access to secret information about these UFOs and UAPs, and they know far more than we do, and they have more detailed and more critical information, they must have acted on it. That's what we do. So if there's a cover up of knowing, there's going to be a cover up of what was done. And this has produced a bottleneck of information and probably a series of poorly thought out or slightly productive or unproductive or maybe counterproductive actions, which the public has no knowledge of, but we're still paying for it. So this is why disclosure is really doggone important. And second of all, as I said, this problem is big, it's global, it's cosmic, and it's way beyond the scope of a small group of wealthy white men and the tiny group of families they come from. Basically, oligarchy, a racial, cultural oligarchy, is what runs this country, and there are some exceptions, but they're not that high. And it's beyond their capability to keep us safe from and to have an optimal course. You know, you have something, I think it's called aristos in ancient Greek, and it's a part of, so-called Western philosophy, where kind of like a Platonic ideal, you are searching for the best possible outcome. All right? And best possible outcomes depend on which constituency is being served. I have a strong suspicion that those in government, if they do know about this, they have taken action, and the action they've taken, their aristos, their most desired best possible outcome is what's best for them and not for the rest of us. Not for the rest of us in this country, not for the rest of us on this planet, and not for people that aren't part of this wealthy group of people, whoever they are. They may have even been a government within the government that kind of keeps to themselves, that doesn't inform even the government about what's going on. We need openness. Okay? Collaboration produces everything civilization has produced to make our lives better, longer, happier, healthier, and more meaningful. Okay? Despite the talk of how great competition is, competition is very limited. For example, if you're building a building, you don't have 10 architects fight each other out to see how it's going to be built, and then you have the different stonemasons and bricklayers and contractors all sort of arguing with each other, maybe even armed conflict. That building would never get built. If it did get built, you're not going to want to be in it, especially in a storm or something. Okay, collaboration, harmonization produces incredible results. And if the global scientific community comes together, there's times when it comes together, it can do wonders. Now, my next video, we're going to talk about the implications of the failure of the scientific and community and the government, and how that relates to military security for the country and the planet. So once again, I look forward to it. I'm on a roll. It's 21 minutes past midnight. I'm still feeling good, so I'm just going to keep going.